Hi friends, today we are going to see about what is research gap. In today's scenario, more number of researchers will confused about how to identify the research gap. So in this lecture, we are going to detailedly see about how the research gap is to be identified. So before going to detailed discussion on the research gap steps and the demonstration where we can identify the research gap, we can identify it from the databases. What is research gap? A research gap is sometimes called as a research question or a problem. It has not been answered by any of the existing literature or in any field of the research where the already available research is conducted with reference to your field of research. My dear friends, research gap when it is exist, research gap exists when there is a concept. When there is a concept or a new idea that hasn't studied at all. Hasn't studied at all. Maybe suppose you are going to choose a new area of research. So many number of researchers have already undertaken the study, but there is some gap to be not studied anybody. So that gap is called as a research gap. So research gap you find is an area where more studies and more research need to be conducted. See, my dear friends, so there are so many researchers are already conducted. For example, the customer satisfaction or financial performance. So in this area, so many researchers have conducted the study, but there are some research gap. If you take in customer satisfaction, we have customer attitude, customer expectation, customer loyalty, customer relationship management. So many research areas are available. So that where we want to find out where the research gap is highly available, which means it is an area where more studies and more research need to be conducted. Sometime the research gap will be identified based on the reference material you have referred, maybe from the in the form of improvement, scope for improvement of research or scope for further research. So whenever any researcher is conducted the study, definitely they may also mention about scope for improvement needed in terms of research. So I kindly suggest all the researcher please go through that field and so that you can easily identify the research gap. How do I find research gap? Yes, I mentioned that from the studies that have already been done and what those studies contributed to the overall body of knowledge about the topic. So, may I told you already, refer suggestion for future research and conclusion part of the existing studies where the existing researcher have conducted. And my dear friends, please read meta-analysis, literature reviews, and more systematic reviews on related to your area of research or related to the problem you have identified. And these are all the different sources of identifying the research gap: Psychoinfo database, psychoarticles database, Single database, it is purely related to medical and nursing field. Web of Science, elsewhere, Sage, there are so many search engines, so many databases are available. If you go like the psycho, I am talking about the Psychoinfo database where the AP, American Psychological Association. If you click here, American Psychological Association, there they will give lot of information. The same way, psycho articles also. When you click it, it is go for American Psychological Association website, where you can able to find, say example, suppose I am interested to know about service quality. Service quality. If you click here, you will get lot of information on the service quality, the topic related to. service quality, the document available on the service quality. So example, I required the articles published in the area of service quality. If you click here, these are all the some articles which is available with the full text. If you click PDF, it is automatically it is coming. So these articles are published by the American Psychological Association. It is one of the leading journal which will provide lot of informative information on the respective field. So these two sources is one, and apart from that, you can also go for Emerald database where you can able to find lot and lot more information on your upcoming research and current research. You can go and search, you will get lot of idea. Okay, then you may go for elsewhere database, elsewhere database. So elsewhere is the foremost running on the Scopus web index. So you will get lot of information on the elsewhere database also, you may find that. Then Sage database. So many databases are available. In the from Sage database also you can search it and you can find the current research, what it is going on, and how we can identify the research gap and all. And apart from that, you will also identify from Web of Science. So here you will get lot and lot more information on the journals, right? So if you require, suppose I need the data on, say, example here, journals, titles, service quality, same manner I am going to search here. Here it will given the result on the different journals who published the articles related to service quality. So these are all the different journals which focused to you to know about more research, current research, and where you can able to identify the research gap. Right. Then we can know about how the research gap is to be identified. So this, according to my knowledge, I am telling to you, my dear friends, before going to take up any research, first you can identify the major research problem. It is come in your mind. Identify the major research problem or broad area of research where you are wish to conduct your research. Then based on that, you can identify the key terminologies associated with the particular issue. If you take example, suppose I want to study about the tourism, then I want to know about what are all the key terminologies associated with tourism. Maybe tourist perception or tourist loyalty or intention to revisit. These are all some key terminologies which is associated with the major research problem you have focused. And based on the key terminologies you are identify, you go and search from the different database. So searching for these with the key terminologies. Maybe it is called as a review of literature. It is called as a review of literature. So we will collect the review of literature from different sources, right? Journals, magazines, and so many sources. And based on the review of literature where you have collected, identify the issues not addressed by the literatures relating to your motivating issue. Say you have already identified the broad field of research, and based on the broad field of research, you have collected the data in the review of literature. And the research gap is nothing but the difference between the problem you have identified and the study in the review of literature. Some gap you might identify, some gap you might identify in the review of literature. Say example, the same tourism marketing. There are so many researchers have studied in tourist perception, tourist loyalty, tourist process, and tourism service quality, and so many issues. But only few researchers have conducted about tourism intention to revisit. So that might be a research gap. So likewise, you can identify the research gap. So the research gap is the one important area of the research uh, problem you must identify from your research, right? So thank you, friends.